Welcome to the new place for local and regional high school sports talk and analysis in Central Kentucky. And thanks to our great sponsors, Jack Burford Chevrolet in Richmond, off the EKU bypass. Visit them online at jackburford.com. Express Roofing, they have you covered. Visit them online at expressroofing.net. Set up your free estimate now. Now, back to the show. This program is sponsored by Cumberland Valley National Bank and Trust. Visit their new location in Berea.
All right, welcome back. I'm Samantha Burford. You know these guys. Listen, in the break, this guy right here, he's not real happy. We did not put Southern in the top 5. Why? You didn't.
As you
Are
know.
they not deserving?
As we know.
But you got some history.
I wasn't complaining that they weren't in the top 5 because I wouldn't have them in the top 5 either.
Okay.
But I just thought we need to mention our Southern boys basketball team here in our county.
You're right.
And talk about them just for a minute.
Are
you getting tweets from like Shane Buttrey? What is it?
When this is put on YouTube, I'd say we would get
yes,
the tweets.
we would. So let's go right at it. Let's give them a shout out.
For one thing, Doug was the former coach of Madison Southern. But
for those of you that don't.
Southern, of course, they're not top 5 right now. Southern's awful young, going still in my mind. They still have, I think their year is next year, year after.
I agree.
They're young.
They're 9-9 right now. They've gone through
But I will tell you what, they beat Woodford earlier in the year. Or no, they played Woodford close to overtime. So they are another team that can beat just about anybody in the district region on a good night. They can be dangerous.
Well, they can be, and like you said, they're still gaining experience. Yeah. You thought, oh my gosh, last year they were so young, but you look at it this year, and they're still a very young team. They're 9-9, and they went through a period where they were playing some tough competition too. They went down to Western Kentucky, and they got beat by Bowling Green and Monroe County, top teams in each one of their regions, and then GRC beat them right after Christmas. Yep. So they've played some tough competition, and they're right at that 500 level. I expect them to kind of finish at that 500 level, looking at their future schedule. But Stacy Burns is leading them with 16.2 average, and Caleb Miller is really gaining a lot of confidence, and he's playing well for them.
He's really being so young as a team, he's getting a lot of playing time right now.
He's just a sophomore.
And come 2 years from now, he's going to be a little ball player.
Tanner Kidwell is a solid all-around player, 13 points a game, leading the team in field goal percentage with 46%. And from the guard spot, he's their leading rebounder with 5.4 average. And they just got Andrew Miller back, who's been out with a broken knuckle. And he's just now getting back, and he's played the last couple games. So we'll see if they can look for some improvement at the end of the year.
The thing with Southern, though, and I'll moan on it, in the 44th District, we don't seed, so we're going to drive a hat.
Right.
If they draw Central in that first round, it don't look good for them.
Well, that's true. And
but if they can draw Berea or Model, better matchup, more favorable matchup for them, so they can make the region.
Whoever has been drawing for Southern has had the magic touch the last few years because they've been able to avoid Central in the first round.
So,
well, being a regional show, I mean, I'm just glad that he put Madison Central in there ahead of Henry Clay, Dunbar, or Lafayette, because they're all pretty good squads.
They're all good too. Yeah.
So there's some good teams out here, and just like you said, there's 7 or 8 teams that can win the 11th region in Southern if they get the right draw and everything starts falling right. Hey, I'm telling you. Yeah. We're getting ready to go to the girls, but I remember watching one of the best games I saw last year was the Berea's girls team against Southern.
Madison Southern girls.
I mean, I'm telling you, that coach
first game,
absolutely. I mean, they were fighting tooth and nail, and they really should not have been in the game.
She had a shot at the end to win it.
Yep. Absolutely, but she had them going. So I mean, anything can happen, and if Southern gets the right draw, like you're saying, and if
you get an upset.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a game we did not expect to be that way either.
Right.
That kind of threw us, and it made it very exciting.
Oh, absolutely. It was a great game to watch. Yeah. The crowd was into it. The kids played hard. It was so well coached. I hate to see somebody lose that game, but it was.
Yeah. They all played their hearts out.
Yes, they did.
That's for sure. All right. Are we good? Are we good on Southern?
I'm content now.
Okay. We're good. Okay.
Hey, he's got he worked there.
I need to wipe his brow, okay? All right. We're good. Okay. We're moving into girls because, we got Title IX and everything. So we're moving into girls basketball. I'm making sure of that. So let's start with our top 5 once again. All right.
I was a girls coach, so I insist I thought we should have went first with the girls.
Okay, next
Ladies
month. I'm
first.
starting with girls next month, all right?
All
We're
right.
bringing it.
We all have our bias, don't we, Don?
And we do. I'm a lady Indian
We could go
coach.
into cheerleading next time, wrestling,
Yeah, I can do-
swimming, bowling.
We can do wrestling. I can do the wrestling. All right, top 5 of the girls. At number 5, I have the defending regional champion, Lafayette. Lafayette is 13-8, 7-2 in the region, 5-0 in their district. They were led by Dee Givens, who's committed to Western Kentucky. She's averaging 18 points. And Ashanti Thomas. She's committed to Penn State. She's averaging 12 and 8 rebounds. 13-8 is not a great record, and Lafayette's had their struggles early in the year, but they are the defending 11th region champions. Until somebody knocks them out, I'm going to keep them right there. Because with Dee and Ashanti, they can be dangerous. They can be real
2
dangerous.
D1 players right there on the
Two
same
D1
team,
players.
and they've got size.
And they've got other
And
yeah,
that
size.
poses a lot of problems for their opponents.
That's right. So Lafayette's going to be a hard outcome to the 11th region for whoever does draw them.
I can't figure out the 13-8. There's a fly in the ointment there somewhere.
Somewhere.
They played
Something's not
something.
A fly
There's
in the ointment.
well, I'm just, and it was, you see that on occasion. There's either a chemistry problem, there's some drama. They still haven't defined their roles, and if they pull it together, I agree that they can make a good run. You got 2 Division I players on your team. Are you kidding me?
On the
Come
same
on
team,
now.
and you're 5 games over.
So there's something there, and I don't know what
Sometimes
it is.
that can be an injury too. You have a key player out for a while.
I haven't seen them. I read the Lexington
I've seen
paper
them
all
play
the
a couple
time,
games.
and so I'm
And
not
there's just
familiar
something
with an
off with
injury.
that
There's
team.
something there. They're just not, and it may be a minute.
They're not gelling.
They're just not gelling. And I just can't figure it out. And sometimes it's they may never click.
Right.
Just like we were talking about with Kirkland Humphreys and the guys side of it, he stepped up when Sam got hurt. Everybody may be looking so much for those 2 seniors to do it. And there's so much pressure on them. They're trying to do it instead of, I don't know. I'm just surprised at the 13-8 record. Although I agree with them as your 5th pick in the 11th region, I have no argument. I tell you what, expect more than I've seen and been able to evaluate. And I think that the talent is so unbelievable. I just hope that they turn it on and, and go just as far as they can go with
We want
it.
to talk about a region up for grabs. The 11th region girls is as wide open I've seen it in years. Honestly, I think there's one dominant team in this region who should win it. Other than that, I think anyone can just about play with them. But
Who's your number 4?
number 4, I have Madison Southern Lady Eagles. Now Southern comes in 14-5, 5-2 in the region, 2-0 in their district. They haven't had a bad loss all season. They haven't lost. They've lost 1 game, I believe, by double figures, and that was to number 7 Mercer County. And they were down 20 in that game and battled back, got it to within 4 or 5 a couple of times. So they should have won that game. They had a chance to win it. They shouldn't have won it. They had a chance to come back and win it. Southern's led by junior Brianna Lanham. She's averaging 17 points and 11 rebounds. She's a double-double every night. And probably the best guard you have never heard of in Kristen Hayes. Hayes averaging 18 points and shooting 46% from the floor. This little Hayes girl can flat out play if you haven't seen her play much. And Southern, is a senior team. They have a lot of leadership, from Hayes, Lanham, and they have a nice senior, couple other seniors on the team that provide leadership too. So
Kelly Freeman,
Rachel Ramey, Samantha Parms. We've seen them a lot where we do their games. And
then Lanham is just a junior.
Lanham's just a junior and already going to be I think she's already a member of the 500 rebound club and 1,000 point club. So she's on her way to becoming the all-time leader in both stats.
Right.
Probably.
And she's been around that team since 7th or 8th grade as well. She's just a fabulous athlete. And I agree with you. Kristen Hayes, I think, had to sit out a year with a knee injury.
She did.
She's making up for lost time. I've seen them play a couple times. I just like the way Summer coaches them. I think she does a great job. She manages the game well. I've seen her call timeout and reorganize what they're doing. And I've seen her call timeout and choose somebody's try to get them motivated. I think she'd just soon be playing as coach and sometimes.
Yeah.
And I love that passion in her. But I love watching them. You got them 4th. They might be a little bit better. I don't even see them ranked in the state. I don't think they're getting any respect whatsoever, and I love it.
See,
they can come in under the radar.
They have not been a power. They've never really won anything at Southern Girls. I think they have 1 district title.
I think that's right.
2007 or something. So
They're going. They're
as far as the state's
this
concerned,
year.
as far as the 11th region is concerned, everybody wants to draw them. It used to be they wanted to draw the loser out of the 44th. whoever lost to Central was who you want to draw if you were Catholic or Henry Clay or whoever, Not this year.
They've played together for so long. This is one of those situations where you were alluding to the fact that Brianne had played since 7th grade.
Yeah.
Kristen's played since 7th grade. Yeah. They have come up through the system, and this is their time. And we're hoping that it works out for them this year. They one thing that really helps them is they shoot free throws so well.
They do.
They shoot 73% from the line as a team.
I think they're in like the top 10 in free throw shooting in the state, I believe.
Well, they have 3 players shooting over 80%.
Yeah.
So
I like it because they're running 8 people in there. They've got 8 people that they'll
they
run in
deep.
there, and they, it doesn't make any difference to Summer who she's going to take out. If somebody's not doing something good, you're going to come
She'll
over and have a
make
breather.
yeah.
She'll put somebody in there and get your attention. I think they're going to win I think they're going to win
They're
our district.
favored- they're
I think
favored
they're
to win
going
the
to be.
district.
Tough in the region, and I think that if they get a good crowd behind them and get everything rolling the right way, I think that they're going to surprise some people. I love their tenacity. Mm-hmm. They will not quit. They will fight you for a loose ball.
We saw that game when they did not quit. They came from behind
against
ended up winning.
Adair County or somebody.
Wayne
It was
County.
and they were.
It was incredible the change in their.
So I've seen them play a couple of games, and they just stuck with the game plan, and the shots started falling. They didn't panic.
They stepped up their defense.
They did. They absolutely did, and the things that they were doing not so well at the fourth quarter were well because the other team, Wayne County, kept breaking their press, bang, layup, press. They would get it and then layup, and they made some adjustments and
it worked.
It was just they just never quit.
The crowd went crazy. We went crazy.
Yeah.
Well, those kids are winners, and that's what you can say about they're not going to quit, and they're going to. And Coach Simmons is going to make sure that they don't quit.
I saw the Mercer County game. You was at the game.
Right.
They got down 20 early. Never stopped. They battled back, got it within 5.
Mm-hmm.
And if they hadn't had a bad floor game that night,
Mercer
they
County
would have been
really
right
good,
there.
though.
Same thing with Wayne County.
Yeah.
I mean, you got down by 13 or 14 points and never panicked,
Back.
stuck with the plan. I mean, in warm-ups, they were hitting all their threes. Everything was going good. Come out, and they couldn't throw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
And finally they started hitting. Just kept on. So it was, I look for them to. I think they should be getting more respect than they are. But if they're coming in under the radar, it's not how you start; it's how you finish.
It doesn't matter what your rank.
Absolutely.
If they're able to pull off the 44th district and win that,
They'll go for some
and
ice.
then get that draw that we keep talking
Yeah.
about, I could see them in the finals of the region.
I could
I could too. I mean, if they get on the right side,
Right.
I think that they
get
can
away
absolutely.
from that one certain team.
And stay healthy.
So
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, absolutely. They can stay
Knock it
healthy,
on
but I'm just. And Brianna Lanham, I'm just a fan of hers anyway. She's just a great athlete. I mean, some of the passes she makes and unselfish plays, but she's also tough enough to set the tone against other teams. You know what I mean? They're just not going to bully her around, and she's not going to let them bully them around.
Well, I know these girls too from my time at Southern, and as you can talk about them being good players on the court. They're also great kids off the court.
say I know
And they
Brianna
get
off
along
the court.
well, and they have all those intangibles that you look for in a team.
Brianna, I've seen her make some passes. They're just lasers that the girls are on. I mean, they're great passes to wide open people, but I mean, it just blows through their hands. I mean, it's just like Humphrey's throwing lasers. She's throwing lasers, from a girl's standpoint.
She's a player of the game a lot.
She's a fabulous athlete. She works hard at it. She deserves it.
She does.
It's just, I mean, it's she earns it, and that's what she gets, and that's why you pick
Well
her.
deserved.
Number 3, Paul Lawrence Dunbar. Dunbar's 15-6, 7-2 in the region, 3-1 in their district. Led by Michelle Cecil, averaging 11 points. The thing I like is they're not a very deep ball club. I mean, they only go 8 deep that play regularly. So, I mean, that's about as deep as they go. I mean, 8 kids play about every minute. They don't have a bench past 7, 8 girls. I watched them play Southern. I mean, I thought half the team must have been sick. They did not have a deep bench at all. And for them to be able to still compete without having that depth at 15-6, I put them at number 3. They beat a couple teams here lately too. They beat Lafayette and they beat Southern that night. So
It was about
they
a
just
4-point game
they just beat
against Southern.
Central. So yeah.
And the thing is, where we were talking about the number 5 team not having the gel, they've got the gel. I
That's
mean,
it.
they are playing as a team, they are working as a team, and they're trying to fight as a team. And that's the difference in having 2 Division I players and 5 or 6 people, and having one person and 5 or 6 people that are all believing in what they can do together. And that comes from the coaching. Not that there's anything wrong with your other selection at the 5 spot with the coaching. It's just trying to, you just don't know which buttons to push yet. But I agree with you on that selection too. Dunmore, I think,
they're pushing the right buttons right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing really, really well.
Hopefully they don't peak too early.
That's what I'm a little worried about because they've been playing really well as of late. Sometimes you'll peak early and come playoff time, you'll be the upset victim. So, number 2 is Henry Clay. Henry Clay is 15-3, 8-0 in the region, 3-0 in their district. They have a good player in junior Talayla Livers, 14 points, 8 rebounds. They have 3 losses, and their losses are to Butler, Nelson County, and one other team out of state. Butler's a really good ball club. They beat a couple of teams that really good teams. So at 15-3, they seem to be playing extremely well. I haven't seen them play yet.
Just the other night they beat Mail.
Yeah.
And Mail was undefeated at that point. So that was an extremely good win for Henry Clay. And that's one of your teams that you'll have to keep an eye on. They're capable of winning 11th region.
Like I said, this region's up for grabs. There's 1 or 2 teams at the top, and then everybody else is kind of bunched together. So you get you an upset or two, and anybody can win it. But Henry Clay is right there, though. If you had to pick a favorite today, they'd be one of the favorites, one of the 2 favorites. So.
Do we need a drum roll?
Number 1 team, Joey Thacker.
There we go.
Joey Thacker of Franklin County, 16-3, 7-0 in the region, 5-0 in the district. He's got 3 losses. 2 of them are out of state. The other one's to Butler County, who beat Henry Clay. They have a really nice sophomore, Princess Stewart, 15 points, 9 rebounds. And they also have 4 other kids averaging double figures. So Joey's got that team rolling right now. For the last 2 or 3 years, they've been really good.
Mm-hmm.
And with just a sophomore and Stewart, they're going to be good for another year or 2. So Franklin County is the class of the 11th region right now.
You all agree with him?
I would say that's right.
They're ranked top 10 in
Henry
the
Clay
state.
and Franklin are right there together.
It's hard to argue
Franklin
against
County has really, impressed me this year with
Joey's done a
their
great
scores.
job with them. And they have played a lot of tough teams. And coming in at 16-3, that's pretty impressive. In the 11th region, 7-0, so.
Mail, they beat them. They were undefeated, but Mail's not as good as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
But they're not. They 15-0, but their schedule hadn't been as strong as others. So
Our boss is trying to make sure that
Special
you guys
message.
are awake.
But
Special
I do like
message.
Franklin County a whole lot. I picked them to win the region. I think they're going to, at the end of the day, they're going to be the 11th region champions this year. They got beat last year by Lafayette, so.
All right, do we want to talk about any other girls' team? We got to talk about Central. If we got to talk about Southern boys, we got to
That's
talk
right.
about
We got to give
Central
equal time
girls.
to the
We got to talk
Central
about
girls.
Coach Cooksey.
Central girls are young.
Yes.
I think they're 11-9, so they're fairly young. They have 1 senior. Got 1 senior in Raven Kane. So they're in the same boat Southern boys are. They're a year or 2 away.
Yeah. And they just lost their point guard yesterday.
Word is they've lost a point guard, so that means a freshman or an 8th grader one is going to step in and play point for them at varsity level, and that is going to be tough.
You think it'll be Vanover, right?
It'll be Bailey Vanover.
Yeah.
she's the first one off the
She's the
bench.
first girl off the
Yeah.
bench with that. But Mally Cornett is just a sophomore. She is a double-double waiting to happen, and sometimes a triple-double, which she had Saturday night against Casey County.
Mm-hmm.
She starts at Model, and she ends up at Catholic, and now she's at Madison Central, and she is just a great ball player.
Yeah.
When she gets it on, when she's ready to play, she can play with the best of them right now.
Well, she's fun to watch. What I like about her, she's one of the most athletic kids on the floor of any of the games that I've seen, either team that they're playing. Her anticipation, and you're talking about a triple-double, she's close to it all the time. She
Every
blocks
night.
shots that,
She's getting ready to set records, isn't she?
She's
For
going
at
to,
least Madison.
she's got a
She's blocked
chance.
over 100 shots
Yeah.
already this year.
Yeah.
and,
She's on her way to set the
Just
single
this year.
single season record.
Yeah.
She's got 109 or 110 on the season, so in 19 games.
And it's just fun to watch her play, she's been a friend of my daughter's. They've been to school together all the way through, so she's a great person and a good student as well. You know what I mean? So you're talking about the girls at Madison Southern, and it's funny that the kids that are involved in sports and that are playing at this level are all pretty darn good kids. You got to keep your grades up to be participating anyway. But when you see somebody that's, a 4.0 student with that much skill, and I can see that she's a team player. I don't think that it's ever about her on the floor.
No.
She never complains about a pass being too low or too high. She's just out there hustling. She's trying to help on defense.
Well, speaking of bad passes, if she gets her hands on the ball, she's going to catch it. She's
gonna
got great hands.
Yep. And just great anticipation. I just like watching her play just because she understands.
It's so hard to block shots, especially in girls' games. Because the referee's quick with the whistle in the girls' game on block shots. And for her to be able to block that many, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsey Johns is leading them in scoring with 14 points a game.
And then you got Lindsey and
now that one there, I don't understand why she doesn't handle the ball more. I like the way she handles the ball. I mean, I know you got to have some size inside, but if somebody's going to try to match up with her, you're freeing up the middle for Mally. So I have seen Lindsey handle the ball to a point where I feel like she could be suited to help that team be a little better because you got tall out here and tall in there, and it might free it up. But they keep her underneath on the baseline because she's taller, but she's got some skills.
One thing that would help Mally, I think, is Central's consistency from the three-point line. They've not shot the ball well. Leading three-point shooter is Johns and Willoughby. They were only shooting 26%. So, it really helps to open that up, right, if you got people hitting from the perimeter.
You want to talk about Central. One thing about Central is they are having such a hard time shooting from the floor. They'll score 28 points one game and then might get 50, but most of their games are like a dogfight to get 30 points anymore. They're so shooting.
I don't understand it. They miss layups regularly. I just don't know. And I know they practice on that.
Free
You know what I mean?
terrible.
It's just,
hard to watch.
Coach Cooks, he's doing everything he can. He's not coaching any different this year than he did last. He's
2 years ago.
Absolutely. I mean, he's doing everything that he's done. It's just getting the kids to respond. One of the people that I thought would be better this year and maybe take a little pressure off Mally and some of the younger players is Casey Snide.
Yeah.
She's been playing varsity ball since she was in the 6th grade at Model and came over. Played last year as a freshman at Central. This year's coming, and I know she's had a bad ankle and a few other bumps along the road, but they've got some talent, and it's fun to watch them. They're just kids.
And I will say, until somebody beats Central, the 44th district still belongs to us. So Southern's got to beat Central to take the district. So.
Well, speaking of stats on shooting, they shoot 33.6 from the floor.
33%.
59.8 from the free throw line and 24% from the 3-point line. So, that's
that
tells you something.
Greatly improved, or you're not going to win many games shooting 33%.
No, and they have a lot of turnovers. Do you remember the game we just did last week? They had 14 turnovers just in the first half.
They're trying too hard, almost like they're pressing too much. They just need to go out there and have fun. And if you have fun, the good things will happen. Things will fall in place. So.
If the pressure ruins the pleasure, you better back off. And I don't know where it's at in there. But they've got some talent. And it's just like anything else. That light may come on. They just recently suffered an injury.
But
that may or may not, somebody might step in and all of a sudden it may click now. They might have to rearrange a few things and it might start working.
You're talking about Lindsey handling the ball. She may take over primary ball handler right now.
That's what I'm saying.
She may become the guard because, Bailey may, be a lot to throw her in just instead of now to be the varsity.
Well, she'll be on the floor, but I think
Lindsey may run that one for a little while until Bailey gets more comfortable doing it.
Yeah, but I love Bailey. I love all the girls hustle and their game plan.
A couple years, next year after, they should be pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
All right, are y'all good with girls basketball?
Yeah.
Let's go back to football. We got to talk about Damian Harris.
Who?
Yeah, we know better. Last month, you guys gave your predictions. Some of you thought it was Alabama. Some of you were really hoping for UK. I was one of them. Are you at all surprised he has picked Alabama? Who's surprised by that?
I was surprised by the fact he went to Alabama.
You are?
I am. I was. I thought for sure he's going to be a homer. He's going to stay at home and be close to his mom and his friends. And
well, who's to say his mom's not going to go with
She could easily go. I mean, you can move. No law saying you can't move. But I was surprised. I will say that.
Doug, how about you?
I was, at first I thought Kentucky had no shot. You go back to his junior year.
Yeah, he was a
Michigan. I didn't think Kentucky had a shot. And then Mark Stoops comes in and they get a foot in the door and they recruit him really, really hard. And I was feeling really good about it halfway through the football season. And Kentucky kind of went dry there at the end of the season. And then he goes down and watches the Iron Bowl when they play Auburn and that atmosphere down there. And you've got someone that's going to contend for a national title year in and year out, it's hard to say no to that. And,
it is.
And the thing that I always say to myself, even though I would have loved to have him up the road here at UK, if Damien is happy, then that's the main thing.
That's all that matters.
That's right.
That's all I ever wanted for him anyway. Pick the place where you can get your education, because if for some reason something happens with football,
If you get hurt, say, God forbid he gets a career-ending injury.
Right.
Got to get that degree. And Alabama's a great college as well as Kentucky or Ohio State.
I'd love for him to get a doctorate degree and win the Nobel Peace Prize. I said that,
You said that
earlier,
last
and
night.
I mean it, because it's just one of those things you never know what the next day holds for
In
you.
athletics, especially.
And to be in a program where he can compete for a national title, he's going to have to compete for a position. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he ain't going to walk on down there. He would have
Like he
started
would,
and played
right.
immediately, but he will be down there in an environment that he's going to benefit from, and he's going to get the support of. And I think it was hard on him to make that decision. That's the only thing I can say about him. I don't think that was an easy choice. I think it was probably the best
Wouldn't you like
choice,
to know?
obviously.
Would you like to know?
Well, I mean,
how close was it?
Exactly. But
And
to
did,
me,
did he really change his mind?
He said
Was
he
going
said
to
he made
UK
his mind up 2 weeks
2 weeks
before.
before.
Yeah.
2 weeks before.
yeah.
So
He told me when he went down to the Iron Bowl, he kind of told Nick Saban, said, between me and you, I'm probably coming here, but let's not make it official.
yeah.
And then every week he got a little stronger on that commitment. Then 2
Yeah.
weeks before the announcement, he really got he got sold on Alabama.
Yeah.
Plus, when he went to the All-American game down at the All-Star game, they roomed
Yes.
him with the Alabama quarterback.
To be.
So
Yes.
he was in that ear all night long.
And there were several players that had signed for
A
Alabama.
lot of them
One
was in
did-
that game.
Right.
One
that was
during,
there with
announced
him.
during the game,
That's
and there were no other UK
Yeah.
signees in that
Yeah.
game. So
Well, who
you know,
was-
who was in his ear the whole week?
That's
Who
right.
was one of the
Alabama.
other teams that we thought he might go to?
It was Ohio State.
You darn right. Who beat Alabama? Ohio State.
I didn't think Ohio State had much of a chance. Honestly, I thought they were the number 3 team. In the
Well, I
race.
think when they signed that other running back this fall, after Damien hurt his knee or
yeah.
whatever,
Exactly.
then I
He
thought
kinda
that kind
withdrew
of
from them.
the temperature kind of cooled off at that point. But to have a player of his caliber come out of Madison County, it's a once in a lifetime deal for us to get to see it.
That's a once in a lifetime in the state.
Yeah, once in a lifetime in the
Sean
state.
Alexander, 25 years ago, whatever it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's just one of those things that I'm just and once again, good kid, good student. I mean, he was at the Madison Central game the other day cheering on his buddies. When they were playing
He's a Madison Central
Lincoln
girls
County.
and boys game.
Yeah, I mean, so he's not a fair weather fan of Central. I mean, he's got friends up here. He went to Madison Southern for his education and played football with them, and he's benefited from that. But he really is a good kid, and I wish him nothing but the best. And hopefully his football career winds up like he wants it to. It's every kid's dream to play
His
in the
goal is to
NFL,
win.
and he's one of those special people with the talent that can do it.
Now, let me ask you, though. If you're Damien, Alabama is Alabama football, like Kentucky is Kentucky basketball. You can go to the number 1 team in the country, probably year in, year out in Alabama, and compete for national titles, where Kentucky, the next 4 years, their major goal is going to be get to some bowl games.
Music City Bowl.
Play for the national title, play for the Music City Bowl. I believe I'm going for that national title.
Absolutely.
So,
You can't blame him.
It's hard.
Can you blame him?
It's hard. It's
It's a
just,
hard
just like
decision.
you were saying. If the number 1 basketball player in the country was
Yep.
from Alabama,
he's coming to Kentucky.
and Alabama was recruiting him, and UK basketball was recruiting him, it's the same scenario,
same
just
situation.
reverse.
Yep.
And what Joey asked him, Joey Chapman got to interview him and ask him what he thought he was going to major in. He said astronomy.
Mhm.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what he was going to say. I thought it was a great question.
Yep.
He didn't hesitate to answer. Knew exactly what he was going to answer, and so he's not going down there to be a physical education.
No, he's
major.
not
He's
going
going
down
down there to
Right. Get a
get a decent education and have something that he can and carry on to the next level, regardless of his career there. But to me, to go to that level and play, if you're recruited that hard and they want you that bad, I mean, think of that atmosphere, the pressure. You're going to have to perform.
Or you
I mean,
won't
you're
play.
going to be. It's just like you said. It'd be just like a basketball player at UK. Now he's going to be in the same limelight with 56 other kids or however many they have on the roster.
He
24/7 being watched, 24/7 being analyzed, 24/7 wait for that first mistake.
Here's something else about Damien. He is the number 1 recruit in the class coming in. He moved up to number 8 overall in the United States. He's number 8 recruit in the country now. He's number 1 in the class of Alabama's class. So
Well, something interesting too. You were talking about the competition when he gets down there just for playing time. and they asked him about that because the stable is never barren at Alabama.
Absolutely not.
And he said that he was confident in his ability, and wherever he went, he felt like he was going to earn his playing time.
Well, you would have to, or you wouldn't go. If you didn't have that mindset,
you wouldn't be number 8.
No, if you did not have that mindset, you would not ever be where he's at, because all it takes is that one doubt. If you can't forget yesterday and get done what you got to do today, you ain't going anywhere. I tell the girls that all the time when I'm coaching. Yesterday's over. Think about what you're going to do today and move forward. You can't change that. And he's had that for a long time, and it'll carry him a long way. But when he's been a man child forever. But he's
freshman year.
So he's run over people
it's
with abandon.
It's been a pleasure watching him.
Absolutely,
really
just for him to be from the county, and he gave Don and Joey interviews, with this Madison County School Sports Television, not this particular show, but and I thought that was great because that helps the other kids in the county. People come watch, and they watch his games and his tape, and somebody might see one of these other players. So,
well, and I
it's all
interviewed him back in
reciprocal.
September, and he was kind, he was professional. He didn't want to know the questions up front. He said, "No, ma'am, just lay it on me." He was to the point and very kind, and his coach was sitting there, back behind him, behind the camera, but he wasn't feeding him any answers. He didn't tell him what to say, and he was just
honest. He's humble. He is humble,
yes.
and I think that comes from his upbringing.
And if you follow him on Twitter,
he is humble.
If you follow him on Twitter, he is very humble, like you said. He's always saying, "I'm blessed, I'm happy."
The only thing I wish could have happened for him was that he would have won Mr. Football.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
If he hadn't got hurt, I think he would
have ran away with it.
Well, I mean, even if you
His
take
stats
into
were still
consideration
there,
his career stats.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is
he
Mr.
got
Football
hurt.
a career or a one season? If you go by career, it should have been. It's tough between him and Sinclair now. Elijah had a great career also.
Yeah.
But Damian would have ran away with it had he not got hurt.
Right.
So.
And another player off of the Madison Southern's team, you were talking about how one star attracts attention, and sometimes you pick up on another player, Aaron Sipple, who's the all-time leading tackler at Madison Southern. Right now, I talked to him the other day.
Yep.
He's between Eastern and a preferred walk-on at Ohio State.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a situation there where two really good players on the same team.
And that's why important as part of your community. He didn't have to give these guys interviews. I mean, he had people nationwide coverage there, but he took the time to sit with Joey Chapman, one of our other announcers, and Don, and
I
gave
interviewed
them
Aaron
just as
same
much.
night. Same
Give
night
them
in
just
September.
as much time and
As he
answered
would
every
the
question.
guy
If
from
it
Channel
would have been
18
Dick
Yes.
Vitale or
Yes.
Lee Corso or whoever.
I asked him in September if he wanted to go to Eastern, and he did, but he also had another school that you did not mention.
Aaron Sipple. Well,
Yes.
Louisville was in the mix for a while.
Yes, okay. I didn't know if I should
Yeah.
say it or
Louisville
not,
was in
because
the
he
mix for
said
a
it to
while.
me off camera.
Yeah.
But he was interested in Louisville, so.
And also, unions offered some money, and some of the smaller Division II schools have. So.
Yeah. Well, what about Will Ulmer at Madison Central?
Will
Just
just
got
got
offered
offered.
at Marshall
Yeah.
University,
And
I don't
Kentucky
think,
has a lot of interest in him as well.
Yeah, and I don't think that'll be the last
That
one
won't
he
be the
gets. And
last.
that's another good
Now, I
kid.
tell you, you want to talk
He's
about
just a
another
junior.
kid.
Yeah,
So,
he's
yeah,
just a
he's
junior,
just
but
a
just a
junior,
great kid.
Carter Smith from Madison Southern.
Oh, yeah,
The
freshman.
freshman defensive end. The sack
Yeah.
machine. If he keeps it up, he's going to be another big-time recruit.
Yeah,
Coach
he's gonna
Clark
set
said he
records.
is the next superstar at Madison
What he
Southern.
told me, he said he's the next one we'll be having one of these press conference for. He's well on his way.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
Are we good? Are we good with football?
Yeah, well,
Have
just
we moved on?
other than how did you guys think the championship series went? I loved it. I loved it. I mean, I hated that Alabama got beat,
It was
but
good.
I thought it went
it brought
well.
excitement to it.
Yeah, I
I
thought.
liked it that way.
I did,
I mean,
too.
we do it in basketball. We
Yeah.
need to do it in football.
Well, just think if they had taken the polls and decided the championship a couple weeks before,
Ohio State
who would have been
would've
national champion?
Yeah, Ohio State wouldn't have been there.
No, Alabama would have won the national championship. Now you go out there and you prove it on the field and you play it off like it's supposed to be.
That's exactly
Florida State
right.
15-0. They would have been number 2, or at least number 2 or
Absolutely.
number
Yes.
1.
Yes.
And they got showed for what they were.
What that proves is you can't help what conference you're in, because
can't-
that's my
yeah.
my biggest drag on them is they don't play anybody.
And-
Yeah, they did.
My biggest drawback right now is I hope it goes to 8 teams.
I like to see 8.
Because TCU should have been in
TCU
there.
and
It's
Baylor
good.
had arguments.
I mean, not that they were in the top 4, but they
They had
deserve a
arguments,
shot.
though. They had arguments.
deserve a
Yeah.
shot.
And I think that they can get to that 8 if they can get the bowls set up right to where they can allow 8 teams in
And
it. But it creates that debate too. You know what I mean? They might leave it for another year and then redo it. I don't know.
1AA football, or FCS, has 32 teams now. And it's still not enough to all the FCS people, but you don't want to get that big in 1A. You don't want to go with 32 teams.
No.
8 teams is about as big as it should go.
Yeah.
It don't need to be 16. 8's the limit on Division 1 to me.
There's another pretty big football game coming up this weekend, and I would just want to ask you guys on record who you're picking and why.
Or are you just going to watch the commercials?
And
You've
if
already
you pick
seen the
New
one
England, you
commercial. I
cannot
know you
pick
have,
them
Larry.
because of deflated football.
Any of them, yes.
I thought he was talking about the Puppy Bowl on Animal Planet.
I know you all have seen the new commercial.
When you
that's
play
out.
fantasy football, I've got players on every team, so I cheer for every team all the time. The Super Bowl, I would like to think that New England's going to be able to give them a game, but I think Seattle is going to be able to win it back to back for the first time in a while. And I think that with what happened at the end of the game with Green Bay just got them going, because they were out of that game until the last 2 minutes, but they will not quit. When you start talking about losing, you've already lost, and they never talked about losing. But as soon as Green Bay had a little adversity, you could see that they were
playing not to lose.
Absolutely.
They were too concerned. They were just playing not to lose.
Well,
I mean, the Patriots they're a good squad. They're going to be okay.
Will this
I think
extra attention
Lots of
deflate Paul
controversy,
Yeah.
Deflategate. What
I don't
do you
think it would. They're a veteran enough team where it won't really affect them too much.
I don't think that they'll even think about it once they.
Nah,
I think it's
Take it
over.
out.
Do you
As of
feel like
yesterday.
they're holding off on making a decision on whether they're getting in trouble until
Oh,
after
it'll
the
be after
Super Bowl?
It's going to be
Yeah.
after Super Bowl.
But do you think they're doing that intentionally?
Sure
a lot of
they are.
people
Yeah.
think they are.
There'll be some fines and.
Yeah.
They'll lose a draft pick.
Yeah,
They'll be
you
fine.
think?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I
Our
think
boss is
I picked Seattle. Who are you picking?
I'm picking New England.
Okay.
I just think that the experience and Belichick and Brady they've been through it so many times and I had picked them about midway through the season. In my mind, I thought they were playing as well as anyone back then, and I just think they're a hard team to beat. They're just so tough mentally.
They are the best team, so until somebody beats me. I mean, I know Seattle won it last year, but New England is tough.
So who are you picking?
I'm a 49er fan, so I hate Seattle.
I guarantee
I
you,
hate
the 49ers
Seattle.
will
They're
not
not
win the Super
winning.
Bowl.
I
I'm
hate
going to go on
Seattle
record
with
and
a
say
They're
that.
not
Yeah.
winning.
I hate Seattle with a passion.
I was gonna say we all
So
went
I'm
Dallas
going New
too,
England.
but
Two
they're not
New
winning.
Englands and a Seattle, so it is. I don't.
It's a pick 'em for the first time
I know
ever.
a member of our
It's a pick 'em.
crew has picked Seattle also. He had an early pick, so Sean, he's on record as Seattle.
Randy, who do you want to win? Behind the camera.
I don't care. Cowboys are out of it. So.
You're just
I
a
think I ought to
Cowboys
take the
fan.
Colts and put them in. Have you heard that?
Uh-uh.
Cowboys
People-
got robbed.
People want Indianapolis to take New England's place because of the Deflategate.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
I think the
Never
Colts
happened.
realized they got beat that day.
It was 45-7.
Yeah.
It wasn't 14-13. So
Listen,
that didn't
how
have
can
much
you
to do
not
with
like
it.
Brady?
Yeah.
Everybody loves Brady. He's
You like him because he's eye candy.
You see
All
him
right.
at the press conference on Saturday Night Live the other night. So he was good.
I don't know. I also get excited about all the Deflategate. So it's kind of
Cheater
fun
balls.
to
Cheater
check it
balls.
all out. And, it's just giving a little bit, not that it needs extra attention, it's just giving it a little extra, I think the viewership will definitely be up Sunday. So maybe it is because of Tom Brady.
It's eye candy.
Everybody
right?
wants to see him.
Yep.
All right. Do we want to, I usually leave this up to you guys. We're going to go to commercial break. Do you want to come back and do any collegiate? Do we want to talk UK basketball? Do we want to talk Eastern basketball? Are we good? You guys got enough to talk about?
Oh, yeah.
Why am I even asking that? You guys always have enough to talk about. All right, we'll be right back right after this.